Today is 6/23/2024. We'll be live open phones this evening as usual, so if you want to subscribe, click the link below. I want to go through a few clips because I want to make a point about something we have been discussing lately, and it has to do with the connections between Joker, Robert De Niro, and Donald Trump. So to start, on 4/4/2023, it was reported that the Joker sequel was going to be filmed outside of the Trump grand jury, outside of the Manhattan criminal court. So you have Joker 2 filmed outside 4/4/2023. Well, that's one connection. On that date, it was Heath Ledger's 44th birthday. Posthumous, but 4/4 on 4/4. And that is another connection, which will make sense here in a minute. Now, let's move on. The next big Trump event featured a Burning Man outside, and this was a situation where an activist set himself on fire outside of the trial. His name was Maxwell Azarello. Now, a couple of things about Maxwell Azarello. He's a conspiracy theorist, activist, and he presented himself as kind of a joker. In his mugshots, he had these wild faces, and in one of the photos he took with Newt Gingrich, he wore a shirt that said, "Eat the Rich." Now, that has some significance to the Joker movie. And the Joker movie had this underlying theme of class warfare. He was a victim of the rich. And so throughout the movie, you would see references to eat the rich, kill the rich with the clown face. There was kill the rich on the newspapers, kill the rich on the subways. So kill the rich, eat the rich. These are more or less statements about class warfare and the jokers getting back the people who've been clowned by the system. A joker's kind of a class hero in a sense, a class warrior, anti-villain. So again, Maxwell Azarello outside the Trump event setting himself on fire. The Burning Man theme would also connect him with Joaquin Phoenix, like a walking phoenix. The Burning Man. This is another theme that you'll see ties into everything else that we're talking about. Now, this is the replacement Joker for Heath Ledger. If you want to look at it that way, it makes sense that his name would be Phoenix, which has the connotation of a second coming, a resurrection. So the Heath Ledger's death, again, it's notable his birthday was on 4/4, so even though he's dead, his birthday is on that date, and 4/4 has a double cross inference, 4 being a cross. Same thing with Joker 2. J2 has a second coming theme. And that's one of the repetitions here. One of the repeated themes has to do with second comings and the Christ story, the Burning Man story. So on the date Maxwell Azarello burned himself, it was the anniversary of the Waco siege, in which 33-year-old Dave Koresh was a Burning Man. The deadly Waco siege that gripped the USA. Dave Koresh died April 19th, 1993, aged 33. So what do we have here? Well, we have a deeper connection to Trump now, because this Burning Man is happening outside on the anniversary. This is the date that Timothy McVeigh, who was a fan of Dave Koresh, who was there at the Branch Davidian compound at one point, Timothy McVeigh retaliated against the U.S. government by bombing the Oklahoma City building. So the Oklahoma City bombing, the Fred Murrah building, is that what it's called? Fred Murrah. Now that name just kind of stood out to me because of the character in Joker that De Niro plays, is Frank Murray. But anyway, let's stick with this subject here. So the bombing occurs on an anniversary, which connects it, of course, to the Waco siege. So we have Waco, 33-year-old Burning Man. Timothy McVeigh was executed on 6/11/2001 at the age of 33 for this event. Sort of a Burning Man type. Now, to continue, the Waco siege involved, quote, look, it was raining Bible pages into the embers, and in the embers were 1.6 million rounds of rifle ammunition cooking and popping off. Well, 1/6, January 6th. Now, Waco, American Apocalypse, was a Netflix television miniseries. First episode, 3/22, 2023. Waco, American Apocalypse. A couple of days later, Donald Trump's 2024 presidential campaign kicks off. Waco, March 25th, 2023. A couple days later, and during this time, of course, we have all the talk about 1/6. Even Fox was being sued from having to do with their defamation and libel of the voting company Dominion for $1.6 billion. Again, Heath Ledger, born 4/4/79, just showing some receipts. Joker sequel filmed outside Trump trial. Now, let's continue, because now we're going to the more recent event where Robert De Niro is exhibiting Trump derangement syndrome outside of the courthouse. And he claims that Trump could, quote, destroy the world. So Robert De Niro shows up.
I love this city. I don't want...
And I'm pointing out that this is more than just Trump derangement syndrome.
I want to destroy it. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world.
Now, the word destroying the world, that all I believe ties into the destroyer in the abyss, reference to Revelation 9:11, Abaddon, or Abaddon. I believe these are all correlated. So let's go back now and look at some of De Niro's roles as it pertains to this. Here is Robert De Niro as a young Don. This is him as the young Don Corleone, Godfather 2. So we're making connections here between De Niro and Donald Trump. So now let's go back to the Taxi Driver, which has some incredible significance to what we're looking at right here. So the movie Taxi Driver is connected to the assassin who attempted to kill Ronald Reagan. So let me start with this clip. One of the most iconic clips where Travis Bickle, the would-be presidential assassin, the indications are that he was going to assassinate someone who was so popular he might have gone up to be president. So if we go into the story, you'll see. But let's start with this clip first. He forms a gun with his hand and points it to his temple. The wall behind him is already splattered with blood. Very interesting scene. Iconic. Finger to the head. Now, this is Travis Bickle, would-be assassin in the movie Taxi Driver. The movie Taxi Driver has a, quote, complicated connection to John Hinckley Jr., the man who shot Reagan, to impress Jodie Foster on 3/30/1981. So in many ways, you could look at Travis Bickle almost as a Joker-like character as well. You can find a number of articles about this subject that Hinckley dressed like Travis Bickle. Hinckley watched the movie many, many times, was obsessed with it, dressed like Bickle. He said he made diaries he made diaries about it. He wrote about it. And then he wrote letters to Jodie Foster, which is what you would expect. You know, they're framing him up as a crazy man, as a psychopath possibly. But my point here is that, and he was released in 2016, by the way. My point of it is an assassin was inspired by Taxi Driver. Now, what's more, John Hinckley, and this is not a minor detail, was born on 5/29/1955. 5/29 is JFK's birthday. So he shares a birthday with a president who was shot in the head, and then he successfully shot Reagan. Now, Reagan is very much, I think, in some ways, a parallel to Trump. If you look at politically and otherwise, they had some fascinating connections. But let's move on. So here's a scene from The Deer Hunter, where Robert De Niro is holding a gun to his head. Anatomy of a scene. Here's a clip here. There's again De Niro, gun to the head. What does this mean? Well, let's continue. This is a scene from Machete where Robert De Niro is playing a Trump-like character, a sheriff against immigrants, and here he gets shot by an immigrant.
Let me tell you what change that'll bring. 68 cents. The jingle jangle of pennies in your pocket because the scavengers, the leeches, the parasites are walking away with your money.
The parasites. Now, this is from 2010. This is from 2010. So if you look up Trump and parasites, he caught a lot of flack for using the word parasites in a way that was considered to be xenophobic. So again, Donald Trump is embodied in this sheriff. Trump escalates anti-immigrant rhetoric with poisoning the blood comment.
Money, while you're left with a change. So I want to
Change. He's talking about Obama, obviously. And then you have the sniper scene. Okay, next. In Joker, he's Franklin Murray, or Murray Franklin. Now, here he is talking to the Joker on live TV. And this movie, Taxi Driver, well, rather, it borrows from the Taxi Driver. Many have pointed this out, that Joker is essentially the Taxi Driver, or it contains it, it's based on it. Not plagiarism, but it tells the same story in a lot of ways. So here, Joker is now in the role formerly played by De Niro, as a Travis Bickle-like character. And watch what happens.
call the police. Get what you fucking deserve.
And there he gets a headshot on TV. So this kind of a full circle if you think about it. This movie based on Taxi Driver, roles are kind of switched, and he goes from putting the finger to his temple to now here he is getting the actual headshot. So it all loops together. Here's a clip from 1976. You can see a poster. It says Palantine for president. The indications were that Palantine was going to, again, be president. So you have the theme here of a would-be presidential assassin in the movie, played by De Niro. And then, of course, the Joker-De Niro connections. And the Joker connections to Trump and its connection to everything else should be pretty apparent here. So I just wanted to put all of this in one video, and we'll continue to build on this because there's a lot more, especially if we mind map out all of the nuance and details. Anyway, thank you for subscribing, and we'll be live soon.